12 Rules for Life is a self-help book written by Jordan Peterson. In this book, Peterson presents 12 practical principles for living a meaningful and purposeful life, drawing from psychology, philosophy, and his own experiences. The book is a practical guide to navigate life challenges. So let's begin. Chapter 1.
Order, not happiness. In current times, we have become so obsessed with achieving the state of constant happiness that it becomes a silver bullet of a kind. Striving to eliminate anything even slightly negative from our lives, we misunderstand what happiness is really about. As a trained and experienced clinical psychologist, Jordan Peterson knows that happiness is a nearly ephemeral occurrence that signifies our high peaks in life instead of the periods when we are not doing our absolute best. He suggests that, in reality, we long for order, which means arranging our internal and external worlds to make them known and understandable. We want to bring everything possible to escape the chaos. The latter is a mighty terrain where innumerable anxieties as well as possibilities smolder. Order can become excessive, and that's not good, but chaos can swamp us so we drown, and that is also not good. We need to stay on the straight and narrow path. Jordan Peterson. We are not alone in this world. Other people come our way. We choose to interact with them, be it friendship or rivalry, if we share the same belief system. It is much easier to find common ground when we depart from the same point in such a case. Matching beliefs that turn into experiences can help us establish bonds of trust. We don't have to pursue the order single-handedly. People who think alike can be our allies. Each chapter of this summary contains 2 rules put forward by Jordan Peterson. Some of them resonate with one another, others clash. Regardless of the tension or lack of it between them, they complement and enrich one another, offering new insights into the author's rhetoric. Chapter 2. Walk upright and put yourself first. Walk upright. In lobsters, serotonin is the hormone responsible for posture. Low-ranking lobsters produce a low level of serotonin. This holds true for humans too. The lack of this hormone results in a low level of self-confidence. Moreover, it means more pain, less happiness, a shorter lifespan, and more illness among both humans and the crustaceans. A lobster with high levels of serotonin is cocky, not likely to back down when challenged. Higher serotonin levels denote a higher spot in the dominance hierarchy. At the top, we feel more confident. With our confidence at its highest, we experience less misery and sickness. This hormone makes us less prone to dying, thus serotonin is crucial for survival. Once an evolutionary mechanism, walking upright helped early humans free their hands and use them to manipulate tools. Today, shrugging your shoulders is a conscious choice. As you make it, you agree to accept the responsibilities of life voluntarily. We are not mere tool operators anymore. We have the potential to create by transforming chaos into the realities of habitable order. So pay attention to your posture. Choose to hold your shoulders high over drooping around. Be assertive. Say what you believe is right. You need to realize that your desires are just as important as everyone else's. You have the right to want things for yourself. As you walk straight, your serotonin will flow with ease, making you, in turn, a more confident person. Put yourself first. If your beloved pet is sick, you take it to a vet, get a prescription for a drug, and do your best to administer it. However, when you fall ill, you are not so quick to help yourself the same operative way. When something causes pain in your body, you will eventually find your way to the doctor. But what if it is your soul that hurts? How likely are you to go and get professional treatment? Jordan Peterson tries to explain the nature of such behavior through the reciprocity of order and chaos. The former is the known territory, where everything is familiar and organized by you. The latter is the unknown that rests in the darkness of mystery. Symbolically, we associate order with masculinity as men build towns and normalize our space and time. Chaos is eternally feminine, for we are born from the unknown, which is the synonym for the possibility to become anyone. To suffer terribly and to know yourself as the cause, that is hell. Jordan B. Peterson. We all try to make things right, reflecting our strife for bringing order into our lives. However, chaos is always there as well. It breeds just about any possibility to do good and evil. When we realize being equally capable of both, we get scared, skeptical, and even disgusted by what we are. No wonder no one rushes to cure themselves on tentative signs of illness. Alas, people love their pets more than themselves. First of all, spell out who you are. It is not given to us. We need to make ourselves. Refine your personality. Start now by treating yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Did you know? Lobsters have been around for more than 350 million years. Chapter 3. Choose people who care for you and don't compare yourself to others. Choose people who care for you. We let into our life the people we need the most at the moment. When we are happy, we go for other happy ones. When we are broken and depressed, we reach out to people going through the same thing. Sometimes we might find ourselves repulsed by others' character traits. Psychologists believe that whatever irritates you about another person, you despise about yourself. The majority of people think that helping others is a good deed. However, these others, the victims, might not need the help itself. Instead, they would like to feast upon the energy of the rescuer. In this type of relationship, the rescuer is more of a narcissist, taking pride in what they do. When you dare aspire upward, you reveal the inadequacy of the present and the promise of the future. Jordan B. Peterson. It requires strength to surround yourself with healthy people who want the best for you. They should also be mature and self-sufficient so that you can also learn from them. You need to use your judgment, build courage, and protect yourself from pity and too uncritical compassion. It is only appropriate to be around those whose lives will improve if yours improved. Don't compare yourself to others. No matter how good you are at getting things done, there will always be others out there who are better. For instance, you may be a decent swimmer, but obviously you are not Michael Phelps or Katie Ledecky. A small percentage of people produce pretty much of everything. Winner takes all is a very dramatic saying. However, people who are best at what they do get more access to resources and attention. The majority of us are not the best. We are ordinary people who shine or tarnish at times. We need to make peace with our downs. They are a common thing. But whenever we succeed, we should compare our success to our previous history of accomplishments, not ourselves to other people. None of us are worthless. It is a pretty destructive thought that causes us even more damage. We need to create a positive illusion, if that helps, and try to make it a reality. Humans are not equal in ability or outcome, and never will be. Jordan B. Peterson. Did you know? When you persuade yourself that you are irrelevant, you are not doing a deep philosophical analysis, but succumbing to rationalizing mind games. Chapter 4. Raise your children to be decent people and organize your immediate space first. Raise your children to be decent people. You might be surprised, but the most violent people are children at the age of 2. They start exploring the world and limits of what is allowed. They express their negative emotions by fighting back, biting, kicking, crying, and so on. Children don't cry only out of sadness or pain. There are fear or sadness and anger crying, which are different in the way they manifest. Crying out of anger is an act of dominance, and parents should treat it as such. Some of the popular upbringing methods today almost wholly exclude the practice of discipline and punishment. A lot of new parents find them synonymous with tyranny and torture. The line is thin indeed, yet both should be part of a balanced upbringing, performed with exceptional care. If you want to shape your child's behavior, figure out what it is exactly. Observe what your child is doing now. Reinforce the positive aspects of their actions. The following are some examples of simple rules for kids. Fight only in self-defense. Don't bully others. Eat in moderation and be thankful for the food. Share your things with others. Be attentive and respectful when adults address you. Take care of your stuff. Organize your immediate space first. Living, most of us try to do the right thing, abide by the law, respect others. However, being good people does not keep us harmless. We can still fall victim to the wrongdoings of others. When that happens, some of us break and resort to violent behavioral patterns themselves. Still, others find the strength to forgive and move on. We can either replicate or learn from the evil to never allow it to happen again. We take a lot for granted, even the spaces we live in today, because order needs to be maintained. When we pay insufficient attention to it, corruption finds its way in. Some tend to blame God for this, as if we hold no responsibility for our lives whatsoever. We should ask ourselves whether we have exhausted all our opportunities and used our potential to the fullest. If we don't find the strength to do that, we might spiral into despair and resentment. A hurricane is an act of God, but failure to prepare when the necessity for preparation is well known, that's sin. Jordan Peterson. Analyze your life to elicit what you are doing wrong. Using your good judgment and willpower, stop doing it today. You need to conduct an audience by yourself and stop blaming others, the government, God, your boss, etc., for everything that went awry in your life. Hewing away self-destructive behaviors, we become stronger and get to see clearer into the future. Chapter 5. Concentrate on what matters and stop lying. Concentrate on what matters. Sharing does not mean giving out without getting something in return. For this reason, some children refuse to share. The model of sharing is the basis for initiating a trade. This last one is the symbolic form of building relationships with other people. If children can't share, they can't trade, which means, in turn, that they don't get to have friends. Thus, friendship is a form of trade. If you find yourself living in a world you don't like, start reviewing your values. Step aside and try to reevaluate your current presuppositions. You might realize that holding on to them will not make you the person you are supposed to be. Sort the meaningful from the habitual, yet harmful. Indeed, our lives involve a lot of suffering that comes upon realizing our vulnerability and mortality in general. Many of us postpone the pleasure of living today for the sake of preparing for the future. If that seems meaningful for you, then pursue it. Good and evil are the attached values that come with the work of our self-consciousness. We are capable of making things meaningful. However, we also tend to substitute meaning with expedience. The latter is perishable. It is a short-term solution that brings no consolation. On the other hand, the meaning is about maturity and growth. It is our ability to bring order and humility into our lives. Stop lying. We can use words to share information and experiences, create meanings, and manipulate reality. With such power at hand, we can make up a life lie that would feature a narrow, predetermined outcome of our actions and thoughts. Life lie follows the presupposition that there is only one unchangeable truth we should stick to. Creating this perfect image of what your life should be like is very harmful because there are too many variables to consider. The inability to implement your dream could lead to stress and anxiety, as you won't be living the life you have, but the life you imagine. To tell the truth is to bring the most habitable reality into being. Jordan B. Peterson. Truth is personal, yet objective at once. It doesn't come masked as the views and beliefs of others, nor is it an ideology. Your truth is your narrative that grows out of your unique circumstances. Identify your personal truth, tell it to yourself, and share discreetly with others. The instant you do it, you will feel more confident because knowing our personal truth provides a solid ground underneath our feet. Chapter 6. Listen to others and word your thoughts carefully. Listen to others. There is a clear distinction between listening and hearing. However, most of us tend to ignore it and choose the latter over the former. As we hear someone else talking, we just let our brain react to a sound stimulus. On the other hand, when we listen, we let the thoughts and ideas pass through our psyche. In the process, they might also cling to our consciousness, causing us to have to digest them. Sometimes it isn't easy to figure out what the other person is talking about. For the most part, this happens because this is the first time they are wording their innermost thoughts. As they repeat them, some details may sound contradictory. However, it does not mean that they are necessarily lying. Their views need to take on the most suitable verbal shape, and this process, resemblant of giving birth, might take some time. When a person talks about some highly charged emotional event, the utterances might come out in chunks, incoherently, because they gradually choose what needs to be left unspoken. If the conversation seems boring, you are not actually listening to it. When you take your time to listen carefully, people will tell you everything they are thinking with very little deceit. They will share absurd, exciting, and interesting things, and you will never have a boring conversation again. Word your thoughts carefully. Our brain makes the reality into words as long as the objects they signify are meaningful to us. So is the world around us. We learn to use and navigate it. However, objects and phenomena of the world are mutually connected and dependent on one another. To extract them from the whole of reality, i.e., understand them, we need to be very accurate and precise with the verbal forms, words, we use to name them. Careful wording helps us to know and explore our limits, identify with others, and convey our thoughts most efficiently. The same is right about ourselves. Nevertheless, these are not inalterable, as other people and circumstances make changes in the way we are. When the habitual world around us collapses, we find ourselves in a state of chaos. We don't know the name for it, therefore, we need to figure it out. Change of the familiar prompts us to act and discover new things. When you have something to say, silence is a lie. Jordan B. Peterson. You need to see a clear picture of where you were in the past, how your actions led you to be the person you are today. Tell people around you who you are. Aim at a sea of troubles. Formulate your meaningful things and move towards them. Did you know? Before starting a tough conversation, you need to formulate its topic first to make it go easier. Chapter 7. Win in your own hierarchy and preserve your strength. Win in your own hierarchy. Skateboarding is dangerous, just like any other physical activity, and that's the point. Children want to celebrate themselves over danger. Their parents want their kids to be safe. They purchase protective equipment and even try to oversee the process. However, most adults don't realize or have already forgotten that children like the danger because it helps them become competent. When you gain your own experiences, you can keep safe. When given the opportunity, we prefer to live on the edge. This is how we build confidence in our experiences. Moreover, most of us enjoy taking risks as it enlivens us, making us ready for the future while still enjoying the present. It took untold generations to get you where you are. A little gratitude might be in order. If you're going to insist on bending the world to your way, you better have your reasons. Jordan B. Peterson. Boys and girls are different. After they enter puberty, these differences become even more pronounced. Boys are less agreeable, like to compete, and are more interested in things. On the contrary, girls are less independent, more empathetic, and take an interest in people over things. Both sexes run in different hierarchies. Girls can win in both. However, when boys start to share female values, they lose among other males. In our societies, male strength defines the way our relationships are built. Women want tough men, not boys. When they see a tougher man, they go for him. Nevertheless, when a woman tries to be tough, assertive, and generally act like a man, she finds it much more difficult to find a match. We shouldn't try to erase all the differences between boys and girls. Preserve your strength. Some of the world's biggest religions propagate limitations and suffering as the ultimate conditions for being. If we were not limited by anything, our bodies, brains, etc., we would be everything. However, experiencing these limits involves a great deal of suffering. This last one, in turn, can be the result of illness, accident, or actions of other people. All of these circumstances are nearly impossible for us to control. Yet, there is still another kind of suffering, suffering for the sake of suffering. Many people even derive immense pleasure in this self-inflicted torture. Why? We tend to choose suffering over strength when we are reluctant to resolve complicated life situations. With time, our brain gets used to chemical and hormonal bombs and tells our body that suffering is the only emotion it wants to experience. We love people for their limitations because they shape our identities and generally define who we are. There are many things to be thankful for each day. As the day ends, try to enlist everything good that took place: a tasty cup of coffee, a cute animal you petted on the street, a polite shop assistant, etc. When you try to concentrate on the positive ones, you will see that they outweigh the nuisances. This revelation will help you preserve the strength you carry in you. Make good things happen. Pet a cat when you see one on the street. Conclusion. Like it or not, we all strive to avoid getting hurt or damaged. Some of us experiment, take risks, and thus learn about the world around us and ourselves. There are others who prefer staying in their protective yet imaginary shell. They think that going slow doesn't prevent arriving. However, there is very little movement in the shell. Both approaches define the way we choose to interact with reality. After all, this is a self-help book interspersed with ample examples. By now, you have probably realized the importance of a good serotonin level, putting yourself first, choosing people who will bring to the fore the best in you. You are well aware that you should be comparing yourself to yourself only, as each person is unique. Telling the truth and articulating your thoughts most accurately is crucial, not only for others to get you, but also for you to understand yourself. You might have found the rule on winning in your hierarchy somewhat controversial and right-wing. This is the rhetoric Jordan B. Peterson resorts to in his works and speeches. Therefore, you had a little taste of it. No matter how far some of Peterson's statements go from what you believe in, the bottom line for this book can be rendered in a know thyself maxim. When you know the truth about yourself, your truth, you can open yourself to the world. Try this. As human beings, we use words to communicate with each other. Is it enough to just speak? Do you enjoy all the conversations you have? Do you speak out your ideas with precision? Are you a good listener? Most of us aren't. Pick a friend who'd like to improve their listening skills and do this. 1. Choose a topic for your conversation. The more heated, the better. Perhaps it could be the one where you disagree a bit. 2. Have your friend say his first thought on that. 3. As they are through, take time to retell this thought to them using your own